Hello, my name's Simon Parker. I'm the guest editor of Exhibition News. Today, I am thrilled to be joined by Matt Benyon. Matt is somebody I've known for a long, long time. He is currently the CEO of Easyfairs UK and Global. An industry stalwart, I think is fair to say. You've been in the industry, I don't know, how long, Matt, now?
25 years now, Simon.
25 years, man and boy. So that brings me to the first question, actually, which was when we were both boys at Montgomerys. So that was a while ago, obviously. So just bring us, I know 25 years is probably a long time to summarize in a few minutes, but just give us a little bit of a background in terms of your experience and where you are now, Matt.
Well, I started at Montgomery, like you said, in 1996. And at the time of joining, there were some truly excellent people that are still very much in the industry today, already there. So Alison Jackson was one of the directors when I joined. Andrew Evans was there. Your good self, sir, was there running the food and drink show. And I started in the agency division as a sales exec, worked my way through the different ranks and departments, and then got involved running events all over the world. And at that time, we were going to some pretty weird and wonderful places. So we went off to India, Poland, Hungary, Russia. I was involved in the shows in South Africa. And then I became MD of that division that was running events all over the place. So yeah, it was really exciting, literally backpack time and sort of getting a plane off to Delhi and opening an office there, and really exciting times and a lot of fun as well.
Well, I guess, that was, as you mentioned, there was lots of really great people there, all with a similar sort of approach to exhibitions. But can you distill what you learned during that time?
Oh, I learned so much at Montgomery, as I'm sure you did. Much like Easyfairs, obviously it was a family-owned business, and so you really felt like you were part of the family. And really, the biggest thing I learned was to be empowered, because you just got given a project, and you had a briefing, and then you were let run with it. And that was really exciting. But it was, of course, I learned all the sales tactics and marketing tactics, that have helped me today. But really, the biggest thing I learned was to be empowered, because Sandy at that time, he would call you into his office and he would say, how would you like to go to India? And you'd say, well, that sounds great. And he would give you a big file that Ian Grimshaw had been working on for a couple of months. And you would get on a plane and you would go and launch a show. And actually, at that time, I was launching your brand IFE in India in 2002, and I'm not even sure you would have known about it.
No, I don't think we did.
But that was really, really exciting.
And I guess also because it literally was a blank sheet, admittedly with those notes from Ian Grimshaw, but at the same time, that's got to be like a great sort of nursery for you now in terms of thinking about, we'll talk about that in a bit, but the kind of launching ethos, which is, just get out there and do it.
Yeah, that's all I've done, to be honest. From the very first opportunity I was given at Montgomerys to be involved with running a show, because I started on the sales agency side, and then the first chance I was given to run a show was a launch. And every single show I've worked on really has been a launch, or in latter years at Easyfairs, some acquisitions. So yeah, that was great training for me to launch shows, and actually just gave me the belief that you can launch a trade show. It's quite a scary thing if you've not done one before, but that's what we do best at Easyfairs.
So let's then start talking about Easyfairs then. So again, I remember that being launched, and it was this, taking out the mystery of exhibitions, making it simple, making it easy, hence the name. Kind of what attracted you to that, and kind of what sort of business is it? Explain it, if you can distill it.
Well, I've been at Montgomery for 12 years, then went to work at Expo Media with Mark Shashua for just under a year. And then I met Eric, and also a guy called Jean-Francois Quentin at the time, who went on to work for UBM, I think. I met Eric and his team, and I just bought into the whole concept. Now, back then, Easyfairs was a a very small company. I think there was just 9 or 10 people in the UK division that I was going to be responsible for, but they had this great dream and this great ambition of bringing events to the heart of the communities that they serve. And I think that's a key word, that they serve those communities. And they did things just a bit differently. So like you said, it was about making it easy for the exhibitor and for the visitor. It was about running events in the heart of those communities. It was very much at that time a first come, first served. So, you know, it wasn't like the small companies had to all be around the edge. If they wanted to book first, they could be at the front of the show. You know, it was the easier, earlier you booked, the cheaper it was. As opposed to some models, which, you know, if you call a couple of days before the show, you'll get a cracking deal. That wasn't the case with us. It was the other way around. And I think the thing I liked the most was that every single person in the company started each and every day by calling a handful of visitors. Not something I'd ever done before. You know,
did they have to do that? I mean, that was part of the...
Yeah, that was part of our DNA and still is to this day part of our DNA. So I've been at Easyfairs for 12 years now, and, you know, each and every member of my team will pick up the phone and call a handful of exhibitors every single day before they start calling, you know, the exhibitors. And it just brings you so much closer to the community. It makes you understand your industry inside out, and it makes you understand what they want. You know, and I think up until that point, I hadn't necessarily really known what the visitor wants. And
do you think, I mean, because all of those are really laudable and those aims and what we all aim to be, which is at the centre of our community and talking to obviously visitors as well as exhibitors. Do you think that those principles still, I mean, obviously you're saying they still apply in the sense that people still do it, but those principles that the business was built on, it's easy to do that within a relatively small business. When you scale it, do you still apply those principles? Do you think that those are still part of that DNA?
Yeah, without any doubt whatsoever. You know, we're a privately owned company. We move very quickly. We're very agile. We're very flexible. But at the heart of our DNA is serving our communities. You know, at the end of the day, then they're not really our events. They're the events for the community. And I think if you forget that, you know, then that's when you can start to have a few problems. No, we absolutely believe in that. And, you know, when we launched, we were running very small regional events in the regions where the communities were based. And over the last 12, 15 years, a lot of our events have become the leading national, or in some cases, the leading international show. So, of course, our community has got bigger, and many of our events have become similar to some traditional shows. But I would say at the heart of our core DNA, we still are running events in the heart of the communities and believe in all of that.
So the business that you now run then, so explain how sort of Easyfairs kind of fits together, if you like. So is it a geographically split business?
Yeah, exactly. So we run around 200 events a year. We're predominantly a European company. We did go into America to test the water a little bit and into the Far East as well. But then we made a strategic decision to really focus on being a pan-European company. We've got 5 main regions. So we've got the Nordics, we've got Belgium, we've got Holland, we've got DACH, so Germany, Austria, Switzerland, and then we've got UK and global. That's then a few of the other countries which come under my remit. So Italy, France, Algeria, Spain, Portugal, and of course the UK.
And then how is obviously there's been quite a lot of coverage about UK and the majors wanting to get out, and but it's still a massive market, isn't it? Are you optimistic about it?
Yeah, very. I mean, we're very confident that we'll run a full portfolio of shows in our 21-22 financial year. So that's starting July onwards. Our first show is in September. We've got strong bookings for all of our events in the 21-22 financial year. And yes, some people are looking at, getting out, but we're talking about the giants here where they perhaps got different thought processes to us. And we're very much still launching new shows in the UK. and elsewhere. And we have absolutely no plans to do anything apart from run more events in the UK and the rest of the countries we're in.
Which is really heartening to hear. And one of the main reasons I wanted to talk to you was about this launch. And it's a fairly, by any standards, an aggressive launch program. I think I spoke to Ben, your brilliant CFO, who said, I think there's something like 32 that you've got planned, which I don't think I've had 32 launch ideas in my life. So for you to have 32 in 1 year is pretty impressive. So how does that all come about?
Well, I think, there are so many different ways that companies got through the crisis. And one of the ways that we got through the last 15 months was to prepare for now. And that was, when the light was at the end of the tunnel again, and that when the world was ready for new launches. And, we put a huge amount of effort and energy into running desk research campaigns and then market checking with both the visitor and the exhibitor communities. And at the last official count, we had around 114 projects in the launch pipeline. 114? Now, they won't all be launched. 114, yeah.
Bloody hell.
Across the whole of Europe. Now, they won't all be launched, but at that time, when we did the count 2-3 weeks ago, we had launched already 23 new events. And since then, in our region alone, we've green-lighted another 10. So we're in the process right now of going to market with 10 additional launches, and that's just UK and global. So I think you'll see, somewhere around 35, 40 shows being launched as a result of the last 15 months of work we've done. It's been exhausting, but it's been exciting. And I think it's also given our teams something else to focus on, not only, firefighting on a daily basis, but also getting ready for our next phase of growth. So, it's been tough, but very exciting.
And how are these filtered then? Do you have sort of expectations on payback, sort of scale? There must be a sort of filter process by which you say, right, okay, this is a big market growing, whatever it is.
Yeah, so, like every company, we have benchmarks for the size of our shows and the expectations of the contribution A margin. We don't so much look at payback as other companies do, but in some cases we certainly don't plan to lose money from any of our launches. And I think yes, when you launch a show, your margin is going to be significantly smaller than when a show's 3, 4, 5 years old, but there's no problem with making money in year one, making more money in year two, and so on. But in some cases, yes, you have to invest and you have to be prepared to increase your headcount significantly, which probably means you're not going to make money in year one. That will come later. But
you have like go, no go dates. Presumably not all of those will make it. So you expect.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, for sure. We have a really flat hierarchy being a privately owned company, and we have a biz dev board every month for every region. When we sit down and we present the ideas that we want to launch, and at that stage you'll get your go, no go, and then you'll set yourself the time frame of when you're going to make your next decisions. And I think when we launch a show, we like to move quickly, and we like to succeed fast, or in some cases fail fast. So what we don't want to do is drag things out hoping that a community is going to buy into a concept. We do a lot of research speaking to the exhibitors and the visitors, as I said, press, media, associations, before we launch. So when we're actually ready to launch, we want people to put pen to paper as soon as possible, because obviously we've got significant costs that we need to commit to, and we all know that from the last 15 months. So
what's the typical length from sort of inception to launch then? How long will it take?
That's a good question. Our CEO in Algeria, I think, probably holds a record for that. He had an idea on a Friday and he launched it on a Monday. So we do have a process, a very significant process of researching and launching. But sometimes a gut feeling is worth going with as well. And I think that's the entrepreneurial side of what we do. But I think it depends on what you're researching and how quick you need to go to market. But I think if time was no issue, if you had all the time in the world, I think 12 weeks from start to finish for us would be a nice period of time to have before we would be ready to launch.
Yeah, because if you think then, because I was again talking to Ben, he was at UBM, and obviously 12 weeks was not something that we would consider generally. There was a longer time, by which time other people have either come in or you've missed the opportunity. So what gets you then? Obviously somebody in the team comes with an idea. What gets you when that idea comes to you? What are the ones that really get you excited, and why?
That's a good question. I mean, in what we do, we obviously run a lot of different shows in different industries. So, you're learning new industries all of the time. And I think when a new industry comes along, which you don't know, and you have to learn it quick, that's probably what excites me the most, because it's fun learning. In what we do, we learn each and every single day. And I think when there's a new industry out there where we find a gap and you have to get in and learn it super quick and, develop your knowledge in that particular industry, that for me is exciting. But at the same time, we've got a lot of really strong brands which we're able to take into other markets. And that's also really nice, because then you're taking your community with you. And that's not quite as, not going to say hard work, but it's not quite as tough, because you're not learning a new market. You're just going into a new territory. Most
of these launches then are in adjacencies or in the existing sort of sectors, or are they new sectors?
It's a real mixed bag. I mean, I think it's fair to say, where we can, we're taking our strong brands into different countries, where the communities are demanding that. But at the same time, a lot of the bigger companies out there are not running all of their portfolio in the years ahead. In some cases, they've stopped running some of their events, and we feel that there are opportunities there as well. Those communities, if they still want to show, then we're more than happy to launch into those markets. And some of those industries are completely brand new to us. In fact, if you watch this space, you're going to see a couple of really new industries for us in the weeks ahead, which we're having to work hard to learn now.
Wow. Well, look, I think it's fascinating. I mean, it's obviously part of a growth story that's continued, and the business is growing, obviously, and will continue to do so under your leadership. So, Matt, it's been fascinating to get your take. Good luck with it all. Thank you very much. And when's the first launch?
Our first launch, already for January 22. So we better get our skates on.
And have you gone public with that yet or not?
Just about to, yeah. About to.
Okay. Good luck with that. Have a great day.
Cheers, Simon.
Thanks for your time.
Nice.
Cheers, Matt.
No, thanks a lot. Nice talking to you, mate. Take care.